the betrayal, the perfect life before the storm. Celeste Winterborn had everything a wolf could dream of. She was the daughter of Beta Marcus, the second most powerful wolf in the Silvercrest pack. Her white blonde hair shimmered like moonlight, and her violet eyes were rare and beautiful. Everyone said she was blessed by the moon goddess herself. Today was supposed to be the happiest day of her life. Today, she would marry Dante Blackwood, her fated mate. She stood in front of the mirror in her wedding dress, a flowing gown of silver silk that caught the afternoon light. Her best friend, Maya, was adjusting her veil with tears in her eyes. "You look like a dream, Celeste," Maya whispered. "Dante is the luckiest wolf alive." Celeste smiled, her heart full of joy. She had known Dante since they were children. When they turned 18 and discovered they were fated mates, it felt like destiny. He was handsome, strong, and kind, the son of the pack's head warrior. Their union would strengthen the pack and create a powerful alliance. "I can't believe this is really happening," Celeste said, touching the silver necklace around her neck. It was her mother's, passed down through generations of Winterborn women. Inside the locket was a small moonstone, a family treasure. Her mother had died when she was young, and this necklace was all she had left of her. A knock on the door interrupted her thoughts. Her father, Beta Marcus, entered. He was a large man with gray streaking his dark hair, but his eyes were warm as he looked at his daughter. "It's time, my little moon," he said, using his childhood nickname for her. "Are you ready?" Celeste took a deep breath and nodded. "I'm ready, father." The wedding that became a nightmare. The ceremony took place in the sacred grove, where ancient oak trees formed a natural cathedral. The entire pack had gathered, over 200 wolves dressed in their finest clothes. Alpha Gregor sat in the place of honor, his cold blue eyes watching everything. His son, Riker, stood beside him as the best man. Riker was Dante's closest friend, a bond formed in childhood. Celeste walked down the aisle on her father's arm. The pack members smiled and whispered their approval. She was a vision in white and silver. At the end of the aisle, Dante waited. He looked handsome in his formal black suit, his dark hair perfectly styled, his green eyes fixed on her. But something was wrong. Celeste felt it the moment their eyes met. There was no warmth in Dante's gaze, no love, just cold calculation. Her wolf stirred uneasily inside her, sensing danger. But Celeste pushed the feeling away. It was just wedding nerves, she told herself. The pack elder, a wise woman named Grandmother Thea, began the ceremony. "We gather under the witness of the moon goddess to join these two fated mates in eternal bond," she said, her voice carrying through the grove. "Dante Blackwood, do you accept Celeste Winterborn as your mate, to honor and protect until death?" Dante smiled. "I do," he said smoothly. "Celeste Winterborn, do you accept Dante Blackwood as your mate, to honor and cherish until death?" Celeste opened her mouth to say "I do," but before she could speak, a scream shattered the peaceful moment. A warrior burst into the grove, his face pale with horror. Alpha Gregor, your son. Riker is dead, murdered." The crowd erupted in chaos. Wolves shifted, growling and snarling. Alpha Gregor rose to his feet, his face twisted with rage. "What? Where?" "In the east wing of the pack house. He was found in his room, throat torn out," the warrior gasped. Alpha Gregor's eyes blazed with fury. His wolf was close to the surface, his power radiating through the grove like a physical force. "Who did this?" he roared. "Who dared to kill my son?" The warrior hesitated, then pointed directly at Celeste. "We found her necklace in his hand, Alpha, the Winterborn locket. She was the last one seen near his room before the ceremony." Celeste's blood turned to ice. "What? No, that's impossible. My necklace is right here." She reached for her throat, but her fingers found only bare skin. The necklace was gone. Her mother's precious locket was missing. "Lies!" her father shouted, stepping in front of her. "My daughter would never harm anyone." Someone is trying to frame her. But Alpha Gregor was beyond reason. His son was dead and he wanted blood. Seize her, he commanded. Warriors moved forward, grabbing Celeste by the arms. She struggled, shock and confusion overwhelming her. No, I didn't do this. Dante, tell them I didn't do this. She looked at her mate, expecting him to defend her, to stand by her side. But Dante turned away, his face cold and emotionless. I'm sorry, Celeste, he said quietly. But the evidence is clear. In that moment, Celeste's world shattered. Her mate, her fated mate, was abandoning her. Worse, he was betraying her. The truth hidden in betrayal. They dragged Celeste to Riker's room. The sight that greeted her made her stomach turn. Riker lay on his bed, his throat torn open, blood everywhere. And clutched in his dead hand was her mother's silver locket, the chain broken. I didn't do this, Celeste whispered, tears streaming down her face. Someone planted that locket. Someone is framing me. Alpha Gregor stood over his son's body, his face a mask of grief and rage. My son is dead. The evidence condemns you. You will pay for this crime, Celeste Winterborn. Please, Alpha, her father begged, falling to his knees. Give her a fair trial. Let us investigate. My daughter is innocent. Silence. Alpha Gregor's command forced everyone to their knees, the weight of his alpha power crushing. There will be no trial. The proof is in my dead son's hand. Celeste Winterborn, I sentence you to death by the forbidden abyss. May the darkness take you as you took my son. Gasps filled the room. The forbidden abyss was a place of legend and horror. It was a massive pit at the edge of their territory, so deep that no one had ever reached the bottom. It was said to be cursed, filled with ancient dark magic. Wolves thrown into the abyss were never seen again. No! Celeste screamed. I'm innocent. I didn't kill Riker. Please, someone believe me. But no one spoke up. The pack looked at her with fear and disgust. Even her friends turned away. Only her father continued to fight. You can't do this, Gregor. She deserves a trial. She deserves justice. The justice is done, Alpha Gregor said coldly. Take her to the abyss. Now. As the warriors dragged her away, Celeste caught one final glimpse of Dante. He was standing with a beautiful woman, Alpha Gregor's daughter Isla, and they were holding hands. In that moment, understanding crashed over Celeste like a wave. This was planned. All of it. Dante had never loved her. He had used her to get close to the Alpha's family. And now he was getting what he really wanted, Isla, the Alpha's heir. You planned this? Celeste whispered, her voice hoarse. You and Isla. You killed Riker and framed me. Dante's mask slipped for just a moment. A cruel smile touched his lips. You were always too trusting, Celeste. Too weak. Isla and I are true mates, not you. We wanted each other. But her father would never approve. Not while Riker lived and you held your family's fortune. So we solved both problems. My fortune? Celeste's mind reeled. What are you talking about? Your mother's inheritance, you fool? Isla said, stepping forward with a vicious smile. The Winterborn vault. Your mother left you a fortune in gold and magical artifacts. When you married Dante, it would become his. And when you conveniently died, it would be ours. But we got impatient. You murdered your own brother for money? Celeste gasped. Isla shrugged. Riker was weak. He would have been a terrible Alpha. Better this way. And you, dear Celeste, make the perfect murderer. Everyone believes you snapped with jealousy because Dante was secretly seeing me. The betrayal was complete. Her mate, her best friend's brother, and the Alpha's daughter had conspired to destroy her life, and everyone believed their lies. Into the darkness of the abyss. They took Celeste to the forbidden abyss at midnight. The moon was blood red, hanging low in the sky. The abyss was exactly as terrifying as the stories said. It was a massive hole in the earth, so wide that Celeste couldn't see the other side. Cold air rushed up from below, carrying with it strange whispers and the smell of ancient earth. "Any last words?" the head warrior asked, though his voice held no sympathy. Celeste looked at the gathered pack. Her father was being held back by 4 warriors, his face wet with tears. "I'm innocent," she said, her voice strong despite her fear. "And one day the truth will come out. One day you'll all know what Dante and Isla did. And on that day, I hope you remember this moment." "Throw her in," Alpha Gregor commanded, his voice empty of mercy. The warriors grabbed her and carried her to the edge. Celeste didn't scream or beg. She held her head high, even as they threw her into the darkness. The last thing she saw was the blood-red moon above, and then she was falling. She fell for what felt like forever. The wind screamed past her ears. The darkness swallowed her whole. She thought about her father, about her mother, about the life that had been stolen from her. And she thought about revenge. If she somehow survived this, she would make them all pay. The ancient power awakens. Celeste didn't die when she hit the bottom. She should have. The fall alone should have killed her. But instead, she landed in freezing cold water that cushioned her impact. She was bruised and battered, but alive. She dragged herself onto a stone shore, coughing and gasping. The abyss was not empty. It was filled with an ancient magic that thrummed through the air like a heartbeat. Celeste could feel it calling to her, pulling at something deep inside her soul. Blue light began to glow on the walls, revealing a massive underground cavern filled with strange symbols and old bones. "Help me?" Celeste whispered to the darkness. "Please, if there's anyone here, help me." The magic answered. It surged into her body, burning through her veins like liquid fire. Celeste screamed as her body was remade. Her wolf changed, growing larger and more powerful. Her violet eyes began to glow with an inner light. Ancient knowledge flooded her mind. Spells, curses, the secrets of old magic that had been forbidden for centuries. When the transformation ended, Celeste stood on shaking legs. She felt different, stronger, darker. The scared girl who had been thrown into the abyss was gone. In her place stood something new, something powerful, something dangerous. A low growl echoed through the cavern. Celeste spun around and saw him. A massive wolf emerged from the shadows, his fur as black as midnight, his eyes a burning gold. He was enormous, larger than any wolf Celeste had ever seen. Scars covered his body, evidence of countless battles. He shifted into human form, revealing a man who looked to be in his early 30s, with sharp features, long black hair, and those same burning gold eyes. "Interesting," the man said, his voice deep and rough. "You survived the fall, and the magic chose you. That hasn't happened in 500 years. Who are you?" Celeste demanded, her new power crackling around her fingers. The man smiled, but it was not a kind smile. "I am Kale Nightshade, the last Shadow King. And you, little wolf, just became my ticket out of this prison. The deal that changed everything." Kale circled her like a predator studying prey. "The abyss is not just a pit. It's a prison, created by the old alphas to trap me after I tried to unite all the packs under one rule. They feared my power, so they cursed this place and threw me into it. For 500 years, I've been waiting for someone strong enough to survive the fall and absorb the ancient magic. You're that someone." Celeste's mind raced. She had heard stories of the Shadow King as a child. He was a legend, a monster from the old times who had tried to conquer the world. "If you're so powerful, why do you need me?" "Because the curse that binds me requires a living vessel to break it," Kale explained. "You absorbed the abyss magic. Now you can channel it to shatter my chains. In return, I'll give you what you want most, revenge." Celeste thought of Dante's cruel smile. She thought of Isla's laughter. She thought of Riker's dead body and her mother's stolen locket. She thought of her father's tears as they threw her into the darkness. Rage burned in her chest, hot and fierce. "What kind of revenge?" she asked. Kale's smile widened, revealing sharp teeth. "The kind that makes them suffer. The kind that takes everything from them, just as they took everything from you. I'll teach you to fight, to use your new magic, to become the weapon they created when they threw you down here. And when you're ready, we'll climb out of this abyss, and we'll burn their perfect little world to the ground. It was a deal with a devil. Celeste knew that. The old Celeste, the innocent girl who believed in love and honor, would never have agreed. But that girl had died during the fall. The woman who stood in her place wanted only one thing, to make Dante and Isla pay for what they'd done. I accept, Celeste said, holding out her hand. Kale took it, and the moment their skin touched, power exploded through the cavern. The curse shattered, chains of magic breaking with sounds like thunder. Kale threw his head back and laughed, a sound of pure triumph and darkness. Welcome to your new life, Celeste Winterborn, he said. Let's make them regret the day they betrayed you. And in the depths of the forbidden abyss, under the light of strange magic and ancient power, Celeste's transformation truly began. She had been thrown away like garbage, left to die in the darkness. But she would return. And when she did, she would be their worst nightmare. The betrayed mate would become the destroyer. The innocent victim would become the avenging queen. And no one, not Dante, not Isla, not even Alpha Gregor himself, would be safe from her wrath. The story of Celeste Winterborn, the cursed Luna, had only just begun. The transformation, training in the shadows. The abyss became Celeste's new home and her training ground. Time moved differently in this cursed place. Days blended into nights with no sun to mark their passing. Only the ancient magic pulsing through the cavern walls provided light, casting everything in shades of blue and silver. Kale was a harsh teacher, showing no mercy. You want revenge? He said on her first day of training. Then you need to be stronger than them. Faster. Deadlier. The weak girl they threw down here must die completely, or you'll fail before you even begin. He attacked without warning, his fist flying toward her face. Celeste barely dodged, stumbling backward. Her new wolf instincts screamed at her to fight back. She shifted partially, her claws extending, and slashed at him. Kale caught her wrist easily, twisting it until she cried out in pain. Too slow, he said coldly. Too emotional. You're letting your anger control you instead of using it as fuel. Again. They trained for hours every day. Kale taught her how to fight with her claws, her teeth, and her enhanced strength. He showed her pressure points on a wolf's body, places where a single strike could paralyze or kill. He trained her to move like a shadow, silent and deadly. The Celeste who had been gentle and kind learned to be ruthless and efficient. But physical training was only part of her transformation. The ancient magic that now flowed through Celeste's veins needed to be controlled and shaped. Kale taught her the old spells, the forbidden magic that the modern packs had forgotten or banned. She learned to call darkness, to bend shadows to her will, to see through the eyes of night creatures. Your wolf is different now, Kale explained as they practiced one evening. The abyss magic merged with your bloodline. You're no longer just a regular wolf. You're something the packs have never seen before, a shadow wolf. That's why your eyes glow, why you can manipulate darkness. You've become what they fear most. Celeste looked at her reflection in a pool of water. Her violet eyes now had rings of silver light around the pupils. Her white blonde hair had darkened slightly, with streaks of midnight black running through it. She looked beautiful and terrifying at the same time. A warrior queen born from betrayal. Good, she said, her voice harder than it used to be. Let them fear me, uncovering the full truth. One night, as Celeste practiced moving through shadows, Kale called her to the center of the cavern. There's something you need to know before we leave this place, he said, his expression serious. Something about your mother. Celeste froze. My mother? What do you know about her? Kale gestured to the glowing symbols on the cavern walls. These markings tell the history of the shadow wolves. I've been reading them for 500 years. Your mother's name is here, Celeste. Elena Winterborn was not just a pack wolf. She was descended from the shadow wolf bloodline, the same line I come from. That's why the abyss magic chose you. You already had the ancient blood in your veins. Shock rippled through Celeste. My mother was a shadow wolf? But how? Why didn't anyone know? Because she hid it, just as her mother did before her, Kale explained. After I was imprisoned, the other alphas hunted down all shadow wolves and killed them. They were afraid of our power. Your mother's ancestors went into hiding, pretending to be normal wolves, letting the bloodline sleep. But the magic never truly dies. It just waits. Celeste's mind raced. This changed everything. Her mother had carried this secret her whole life, protecting Celeste from the truth. The vault that Dante and Isla mentioned, my mother's inheritance. What if it's not just gold? What if she left something else? Something connected to our bloodline? Kale's eyes gleamed with interest. That's very possible. Ancient shadow wolves were known to hide powerful artifacts, magical weapons, and spellbooks. If your mother knew she was in danger, she might have hidden everything important in that vault. Then we need to get to it before Dante does, Celeste said, determination burning in her chest. That vault belongs to me. Everything in it is mine by right. First, you need to complete your transformation, Kale said. There's one more ritual you must undergo. It will be painful and it will change you forever. But without it, you won't have the full power of a shadow wolf. Dante and Isla have an entire pack behind them. You need every advantage. Celeste didn't hesitate. Tell me what I need to do. The blood moon ritual. Kale led her to the deepest part of the abyss, where the magic was strongest. In the center of a circular chamber, ancient symbols were carved into the stone floor, still glowing with power after centuries. This is where the ritual was performed on me when I became the Shadow King, Kale explained. It will awaken every drop of shadow wolf blood in your body and bind it to your will. What do I have to do? Celeste asked, trying to keep her voice steady. The power in this chamber was overwhelming, pressing against her skin like physical weight. Step into the circle, Kale instructed. The magic will do the rest. But I warn you, this will hurt more than anything you've ever experienced. The magic will tear you apart and rebuild you. Some wolves don't survive. You need to be strong enough to hold on, to keep your mind intact while your body transforms. Celeste thought of Dante's betrayal, of her father's tears, of the lies that had destroyed her life. She thought of Riker's murder and how she'd been blamed for a crime she didn't commit. That rage, that burning need for justice, would keep her alive. It had to. She stepped into the circle. Immediately, the symbols blazed with blinding light. Magic erupted from the floor, wrapping around Celeste like chains of pure energy. Pain exploded through her body. It felt like her bones were breaking and reforming, like her blood was boiling, like every nerve was on fire. She screamed, unable to hold it in. Fight through it. Kale's voice reached her through the agony. Don't let go. Hold on to who you are. Celeste's wolf surged forward, trying to protect her. But the magic grabbed it too. Her wolf began to change, growing larger and more powerful. Her fur, which had always been white, turned as black as midnight with streaks of silver running through it. Her eyes blazed with purple and silver light. She was becoming something ancient and terrifying. Images flashed through Celeste's mind, memories that weren't hers. She saw the old Shadow Wolf Kingdom, a time when her ancestors ruled with strength and wisdom. She saw powerful wolves who could walk through shadows, who commanded darkness, who were feared and respected. She saw her mother as a young woman, practicing magic in secret, hiding her true nature to protect her daughter. I am not weak, Celeste gasped, forcing the words out through the pain. I am not a victim. I am a Winterborn, a shadow wolf, and I will have my revenge. The magic responded to her declaration. It poured into her, filling every cell, every drop of blood, every bone. When the light finally faded and the pain stopped, Celeste collapsed to the floor, gasping for breath. Her body was shaking, covered in sweat, but she was alive. Kale knelt beside her, his expression showing something she'd never seen before. Respect. You did it, he said quietly. You survived. How do you feel? Celeste pushed herself to her feet. Her body felt different, stronger, like it was humming with barely contained power. She called on her wolf, and the transformation was instant and painless. Where a normal white wolf had once stood, there was now a massive black and silver creature with glowing purple eyes. She was beautiful and deadly. She shifted back to human form. "I feel ready," she said, her voice carrying a new strength, ready to make them pay. The unexpected bond. As the days passed and Celeste's training continued, something unexpected began to happen. The relationship between her and Kale started to change. At first, he had been only her teacher, cold and distant. But as they spent time together in the abyss, sharing their stories and their pain, a connection formed. One evening, after a particularly hard training session, they sat by the underground pool, resting. Celeste noticed Kale watching her with an expression she couldn't quite read. "What?" she asked. "You remind me of someone," Kale said softly. "My mate. She died 500 years ago, killed by the alphas who imprisoned me here. Her name was Lyra. She was strong like you, fierce like you. She never backed down from a fight." Celeste's heart ached for him. 500 years of loneliness and grief. "I'm sorry," she said. "That must have been terrible." "It was," Kale admitted. "For centuries, I wanted only revenge. I wanted to destroy everyone who had taken her from me. But after so much time, the anger faded. Now I just feel empty." He looked at her. "Until you fell into the abyss. For the first time in 500 years, I felt something other than emptiness. I felt purpose again." Celeste understood. She had felt the same way. After being thrown away by everyone she loved, after being betrayed and broken, she had found a reason to keep fighting. And strangely, she had found it with this ancient, dangerous man who should have been her enemy. "Do you feel it?" Kale asked suddenly. "The pull between us?" Celeste had been trying to ignore it. But yes, she felt it. It wasn't the same as the mate bond she'd had with Dante, that had been warm and gentle. This was different. It was fire and darkness, intensity and understanding. It was the bond of two broken souls finding each other in the depths of despair. "I feel it," she admitted. "But I don't understand it. You're 500 years old. I'm barely 20. How can there be anything between us?" "Age means nothing to our kind," Kale said, moving closer to her. "What matters is the soul. And our souls recognize each other, Celeste. We're the same. Survivors, fighters, wolves who were cast into darkness and refused to die." He reached out and gently touched her face. His hand was warm, his touch surprisingly gentle for such a dangerous man. "I know you're not ready for this," he said. "I know your heart is focused on revenge. But when this is over, when you've made them pay for what they did to you, I want you to know something. You're not alone anymore. You have me." Celeste's breath caught. No one had ever looked at her the way Kale was looking at her now, with complete acceptance, with fierce protectiveness, with something deeper than she could name. Dante had never looked at her like this, even when he'd pretended to love her. "I'm not ready," she whispered. "Not yet. But maybe when this is done." Kale smiled, a real smile that transformed his harsh face. "That's enough for me. Now come, we have work to do. Your pack is preparing for the harvest festival. That's when we'll strike." The plan for revenge. Using his ancient magic, Kale created a viewing portal that let them spy on the Silvercrest pack from the abyss. Celeste watched in disgust as Dante and Isla played the role of perfect couple. The pack had accepted their story completely. Everyone believed Celeste had been a jealous murderer who had killed Riker in a fit of rage. "They're planning a big engagement ceremony during the harvest festival," Celeste observed, her voice tight with anger. "Dante will officially become Alpha Gregor's heir by marrying Isla." "Perfect," Kale said. "That's when we'll make our first move. We won't kill them yet. That would be too quick, too merciful. We'll ruin the engagement, destroy their reputations, and let them know that you're alive and coming for them." "How do we get out of the abyss?" Celeste asked. "You said you were trapped here." I was trapped because the curse prevented me from leaving alone, Kale explained. But now that you've broken the binding ritual, we can both leave. There's a shadow path, a way to travel through darkness itself. I'll teach you how to use it. We can emerge anywhere there are shadows, and there are always shadows. They spent the next few days preparing. Kale taught Celeste the shadow walk, showing her how to step into darkness in one place and emerge from shadows in another. It was disorienting at first, like being pulled through cold water, but Celeste learned quickly. Her shadow wolf blood made it natural. Remember, Kale cautioned, when we arrive, you need to control your emotions. I know you want to rip Dante's throat out immediately, but patience is key. We'll strike at the perfect moment, when it will cause maximum damage to their plans and their pride. Celeste nodded, though her wolf was howling for blood. I understand. We'll do this smart. The night before they left the abyss, Celeste stood at the edge of the pool, looking at her reflection. The woman staring back at her was barely recognizable as the innocent bride who had been thrown into darkness months ago. She was harder now, sharper, deadly. Her eyes glowed with power. Her presence commanded respect. Are you ready? Kale asked, coming to stand beside her. I've been ready since the moment they betrayed me, Celeste said. Let's show them what they created when they threw me away. The festival infiltration. The Harvest Festival was the biggest celebration of the year for the Silvercrest Pack. Wolves from neighboring packs came to join the festivities, to trade goods, and to strengthen alliances. The pack grounds were decorated with lanterns and autumn flowers. Tables overflowed with food and drink. Music filled the air. At the center of it all, on a raised platform, sat Alpha Gregor with Dante and Isla beside him. They looked happy and powerful, the perfect future Alpha and Luna. No one suspected that beneath their smiles lay murder and betrayal. As the sun set and the moon rose, Celeste and Kale emerged from the shadows at the edge of the forest. They were both dressed in black, blending with the darkness. Celeste wore a hooded cloak that hid her distinctive hair and glowing eyes. There are too many wolves here, Kale observed. We need to draw Dante away from the crowd first. Celeste smiled coldly. I know exactly how to do that. She reached out with her new magic, finding the mind of a young Omega servant. It was easy to plant a suggestion, to make him think he'd heard something important. The boy hurried over to Dante and whispered in his ear. Dante's expression changed, becoming alert and concerned. He excused himself from the platform and headed toward the pack house, moving quickly. Perfect. What did you tell him? Kale asked, impressed. That someone found evidence of my innocence hidden in Riker's old room, Celeste said. He'll want to destroy it before anyone else sees it. His guilt will lead him right to us. They followed Dante into the pack house, moving through shadows like ghosts. He went straight to Riker's room, which had been sealed since his death. Dante picked the lock and slipped inside. Celeste and Kale followed. The moment Dante turned around, Celeste dropped her hood. Her glowing eyes illuminated the dark room. Hello, Dante, she said softly. Miss me? Dante's worst nightmare. Dante's face went white with terror. He stumbled backward, his eyes wide with disbelief. No, he whispered. You're dead. You fell into the abyss. No one survives the abyss. Apparently I did, Celeste said, walking toward him slowly. Her wolf was pressing close to the surface, wanting to tear him apart. Surprised to see me? How? Dante gasped. What are you? I'm your worst nightmare, Celeste said. I'm the innocent girl you betrayed, the mate you destroyed, coming back to collect what you owe me. And trust me, Dante, you're going to pay for every lie, every moment of pain you caused. Dante tried to shift into his wolf form, but Celeste was faster. She used her magic to pin him against the wall, shadows wrapping around his body like chains. He struggled but couldn't break free. You killed Riker, Celeste said, her voice cold and hard. You murdered your best friend so you could steal his sister and his father's position. You framed me for a crime I didn't commit. You stole my mother's inheritance. and you let them throw me into the darkness to die. It wasn't personal, Dante pleaded, fear making his voice high and desperate. It was just business. Isla and I are true mates. The moon goddess paired us. You were just in the way. Celeste laughed, but it was a bitter, broken sound. Just in the way? I loved you, Dante. I trusted you with everything I had. And you destroyed me without a second thought. Please, Dante begged. I'll tell everyone the truth. I'll confess. Just don't kill me. Oh, I'm not going to kill you, Celeste said, leaning close. Not yet. First, I'm going to take everything from you, just like you took everything from me. Your reputation, your position, your precious Isla, and finally, your life. You're going to suffer, Dante. And you're going to know it's because of what you did to me. She released him from the shadow chains and stepped back. Run back to your engagement party. Tell Isla that I'm alive. Tell everyone that the dead girl they condemned has returned. And tell them I'm coming for all of you. Dante didn't need to be told twice. He scrambled to his feet and ran from the room, terror making him clumsy. Kale watched him go, then looked at Celeste with approval. You let him live? For now, Celeste said, her eyes still glowing. His fear is just the beginning. By the time I'm done, he'll wish I had killed him tonight. They shadow walked back to the forest edge, watching as chaos erupted at the festival. Dante had clearly told people what he'd seen. Warriors were shifting into wolf form, searching the pack grounds. Alpha Gregor's roar of rage echoed through the night. On a nearby tree, Celeste pinned a note with one of her silver claws. It read, "The dead don't stay buried. I'm coming home. Celeste Winterborn." As they disappeared back into the shadows, Celeste felt a fierce satisfaction. The revenge had begun. And before it was over, everyone who had betrayed her would know true fear. The cursed Luna was no longer a victim. She was a hunter, and her prey didn't stand a chance.